Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome from a very cold Bloemfontein. I hope you're all keeping well and enjoying the last week of holiday. I think the teachers are all also happy for the extra week, Brenda.
We are.
It's such a big privilege today for me to introduce someone that I actually know very, very well. We studied together. Brenda has been a lifelong friend of mine. And I'm so fortunate to have her with me. We are going to have a wonderful chat this morning about personalities and how our children differ. You should have seen my where I wrote, you've got these children and you're the same mom and everything is sometimes just chaos in our lives. Are we all in the same house? It's how can the children differ? And that's why I decided to ask Brenda to come on this coffee chat with us. But Brenda, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit more about you.
Thank you, Corin. What a wonderful privilege for me to be here. Good morning, everyone. I don't know if there are 3 or 30 or 300 maybe, but we are very glad that you joined us, no matter who or how many we have. Where do I start about myself, Corin? We need a whole coffee chat just for my when we studied. Okay, so I studied drama, I did my teaching and my honors, and then I ended up teaching a bit, working a bit, and then moved to London, where I taught for 8 years. That was a school in itself, had 2 boys there while we were there, my husband and myself. And then I came back to South Africa, and very out of who I was, I bought a business from you guys that I knew nothing about. And then I had a business for 8 years. After that, I had at 40, a little surprise parcel, another little boy that we didn't expect many years after the others. The one who actually changed everything when it comes to temperament and personality for me. And then I sold my business, and for 4 years I just did some wonderful facilitation throughout the whole country with corporate companies and so on. And that's also in that time when my little boy was very small. He was about 2, and I didn't understand what was happening, that I did Hetty's profiling. I went for her temperament course, the tall trees, and I was so privileged to be able to connect with her and do that. And I studied theology for 2 years, and did a drama, one-woman show that Corin's husband wrote, and we traveled with that. So I've done many things and so on. And then in 2017, I went back into teaching, the one thing I said I would never, ever do again. And since then, I've been teaching, and part-time trying to keep doing these profiling sessions and temperaments, because that is my passion. People's temperaments, to understand yourself, to understand your children, why you don't understand yourself, why you don't understand your husband or your children, why they are so weird. Are you a bad parent? What is going on? And that is what I love. And the fact that I'm a teacher now gives me so much perspective. Teaching has changed. Education has changed. The way we teach, COVID-19 came and just threw all of it overboard. I know there are some parents out there who really suffered. The familiar, taking my child to school, having somebody else teach him, and he comes home and does his homework, has disappeared. Suddenly my child was in my house and I had to teach him myself. So and that's where I am, back as a teacher and a facilitator.
Okay. Well, you make us sound very, very old now, Brenda.
Well, we are 52. I am. So yes, and isn't that a privilege, Corin? I was thinking this morning when I took a shower. You know what makes me somebody that can talk to other people about the children? I thought, mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm 52. I've made so many mistakes. By the time I got to understand the tall tree system and how it worked, my oldest son was already in his teens, and I realized I made so many mistakes with him. And I just thought, wow, if I could have only known all of this when they were younger, especially him, I wouldn't have made so many mistakes. But we mustn't be so tough on ourselves. That's the other
for
thing.
sure. And I want to share with everyone, I know a lot of you know our story, but when Brenda did this temperament courses, you must remember now, I've got my Asperger son, and then I've got another ADHD anxiety son, and my Laatlammetjie, I had to follow my friend's footsteps. So I had a baby when I was 41, but let's go back when I first did the facilitation with you, is that I had my own personality as a mom, but then I had these two children, and the one is on the spectrum, and the other one is, has so many anxiety issues. And how do I parent? And that's when I first came across this course. And I just want to tell you guys that as a mom, I actually did it twice to make certain that I knew myself and that I understood my children, because something that was so difficult for me, having anyone out there that's got a special needs child, is that you as a mom have got this caring heart and you want to cushion them. And this is something that Brenda actually taught me, is that, through the course, is that I have to raise him as my other child at that stage, because he needs to go out into the world and function as an adult one day. And I had to distinguish, when was he naughty and didn't want to do it, or when was it really his personality. And since that day, I got so inspired by this, and I really want to inspire you guys as parents to, if you want to make your life easier for yourself, do something like this, and we'll get to that, because it changes the whole dynamic of a family, because the mom has got a personality and the dad has got a personality. We are this whole bunch of different people in one household. And that sometimes it triggers fights, storms.
Absolutely.
What you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, this is why I wanted Brenda to do this, because especially after COVID, a lot of parents, like she says, has struggled. And now they are at home with these children, and everything has just changed. So Brenda, the first question I want to ask you is, just tell us a little bit about the personality traits. Let's stop the different types.
So the thing I wanted to start actually with is just to say that, Karen, it's very important that we shouldn't see this as a label. So many people are scared of labels, and so many people do label, and we shouldn't label people. So a Tall Trees profile is not to label somebody. It is a tool to assist you to understand yourself, your partner, because now, remember, my partner has a different temperament than I have, and now we differ about how to discipline this child. I say, okay, it's his temperament that makes him react this way. You say he's naughty and we need to do it this way. And that is where parenting becomes really challenging. It's when couples can't agree about how or what is happening in front of them. And that to me is essential. A parent must first understand their own profile. Okay, so they must do their own profiles and understand it and how they think and how they work, and that it's okay. Because that's the other thing. Everybody's okay. There's no right or wrong temperament here. That's the other thing. Everybody is made for a purpose and a reason the way they are. It's just how we deal with our temperaments. That's the problem. And with each other's temperaments. And that's what you talked about at the fights and all of that. So when it comes to our profiling, look, there are many different profiles out there, and they all basically have 4 different types that you get and so on. What makes ours so special is that it's 3-dimensional. So when you do a Tall Trees profile, depending on which one you do, because you have many different ones, you get a 3-dimensional profile. So you get like a work profile where it looks at your strong points and where you should lead and so on, but it also shows your frustrations. So when we know our frustrations, it makes it easier to know that when something's going to happen, that is a trigger point for me and I need to watch out and avoid it. And then we have our social profile, and that is our communication with each other and how we deal with conflict, because some of us don't like conflict. We rather would avoid it. Some of us go head on. We love a fight. Others avoid the person. They don't want to talk to the person, so they avoid them, and and they are very detailed in their, I don't know if you've ever had a conversation with that type of person. So they're very detailed and factual. You know, they want to give you all the little facts and so on. And yeah, and then you have the others who just, conflict doesn't work for them. They just always joke about it, and it's never a serious thing. And then the third thing that we look at is your life view, which is what I like to call your red flags. You know, it's like those things that we know we should watch out for, and that make life difficult for us because we don't like doing it, or we know we have an issue with it. We have to always remind ourselves about that. And when you said just now that you did the course twice, can I tell you that every time I have a family session with a family around a table, or a couple who comes for a marriage counseling, or a teenager who sits there and I talk, I learn something again. I do every single time. So you never stop learning with this. But that's fantastic, because if we stop learning,
yeah, and I think it's because your perspective, how I feel now, is different than 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
So now I'm looking differently at this situation.
Yes, and I've learned to deal with certain things. So I don't do it the same way I did 5 years ago. So even if my profile shows that I would normally have this issue, you know, say for example, I would never give anybody else a chance to give their opinion. It's one of my red flags, but I've learned to be quiet and listen to someone else. So then I know I've grown. That is fantastic. Yeah. And then the last part of the profile is your total leadership profile. We call it leadership profiles because we believe that there's a leader in every single person, every child, every grown-up. They're just different types of leaders. And that's what I love when I also work with corporates, is that they're so stunned when I tell them that there's a specific type that they always think are the jokers and the funny guys who like to social. And I show them, but these guys also have a fantastic leadership profile. So the fourth one is just to show what is it that I need to be happy. You know, Karen, I think especially in these days, moms, I feel moms especially, they never get any more of that fertilizer that they leave to make them happy, because all they're doing is trying to keep the family all together and trying to get the family to survive what we are going through. You know, they want to survive their children, the homework, the school stuff. They want to survive COVID and their families and protect them. So I don't think that they're getting their fertilizer as much as they should be. And then the other part we do there is their gifting, the children's gifting, the grown-ups gifting. What is your gift that makes life fantastic for other people? And it's important that we should, you know, that we should remember that our children have gifts that make our life just so much better. But sometimes I think we get so stressed out and so caught up in all the negativity of the world around us that we don't see it anymore. Can you still laugh at your child? You know, sometimes if you understand the profile, instead of getting angry, you start laughing, because when they do it, you realize, that's why they're doing it. I know and I understand. And then suddenly you just think, you know what, should have expected it. You know, I've got one who's really, he's got a very contrasting temperament. So the one side is the perfectionist and who likes to get everything organized and so, but the other side is so gone. It's just a mess, and the room is a mess. And when he works in his kitchen, it's a mess, and he doesn't clean up that prop nicely as I would like him to. So I'd go and clean it up because I'd eventually just give up. But I know that is who he is, so I try and guide him, you know, and why it is important to clean up your own mess, because he doesn't understand why it's an issue for anybody else if his room that he can close the door of is not neat. So I have to really give him some guidance. And one day you're going to live in a house with other people who really don't want to look at your stuff lying around. So yeah, it's interesting. But that's why the profiles are so fantastic. And the profiles that we do have those the three-dimensional, 6 different things that we look at that just teach you so much about yourself and your children and your husband and your family. And yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And I want to say, you know, us working mostly with ADHD children in our practices throughout South Africa, that's why we did a course with you where we trained all of our agents on this, because every child that comes through our door is different. And now some of them are really, they've got this spectrum of severe struggling in the middle, some of them not struggling so much. But now when we do our program, and I mean, after doing this so many times, you see someone and you can immediately, I know that's my palm tree. So when we do our program, it just gives us so much more power to, number one, motivate them. And that's my question. Well, my statement is to, if we look at, and a lot of parents that's listening struggles with structure at home, maybe, or with discipline, and especially with homework and everything that's happening, is that if you understand yourself, number one, you as a parent, and number two, your children, you are going to react to certain things totally different. So you've got so many tools then in your bag, if I can call it that. In our practice, I know some children don't like change, so don't even change their seats because I'm not going to be able to work with them. So what is your experience with this? Because I mean, you've done thousands of profiles and so many workshops. What is your take on that?
Look, the one thing I want to say is, first of all, I have a real big problem, especially you guys working with ADHD. You will agree, we've had this conversation many times. Many times a teacher or somebody would just say that child is ADHD, and you and I know it's really actually a palm tree. And he's just really got a lot of energy and doesn't like to sit still and doesn't like academics, and they want to just create something and go outside and play. And for those of you out there, it's that one who chucks the book when they come, the book bag when they come from school, and you say, do you have homework? And they're like, no, and they never have homework. Okay? Never. So I think our biggest challenge there is also, Karen, you have parents who are palm trees.
Yeah.
They are not structured at all. So this would be a very difficult time for them, because now they have these kids who are doing online schooling and they get all this stuff from school. Now, first of all, I've never seen so many groups that appeared. When you are on 1,000 groups, a group for this subject and a group for that subject, and all of that, and especially primary school parents, I think I feel really overwhelmed, because in the secondary school, my child more supposed to take responsibility for his academics and to do his own thing. Where in the primary school, we guide them still and we help them. And then you can feel overwhelmed as a parent. So I think the thing we have to understand is, with our 4 different basic types, but now you can also be a combination. You could even be 3. We call it a contra tree. We work with trees. So we have the pine and the palm and the lollipop and the palm. Which one did I leave out? The pine and the palm, the lollipop and the
English. I'm struggling with him.
Rose bushes. I am rose bushes.
You and my husband.
Yeah, but we are fantastic. Me and your husband.
You've worked it out over the years.
No, we have no issues. We are not difficult people to get along with. We never want our own way. Yeah, so that is the thing. So if you have, for example, a lollipop mom, or what we call, it's a boxwood tree is the new name. So some of us used to know it by our old books as lollipop. It's become boxwood trees. So if we have those moms, they are really perfectionistic and organized and structured. Now you will know that they can really go over the edge. So this is the problem. So I'm a mom. I like to give it a routine. I tell my kids they're all going to get up. They're going to do this time. They're going to do homework this time, that, and then by 12
doesn't work.
My schedule is not working, and I can't understand why these kids can't just stick to my schedule. It's not that difficult.
Yeah.
But the problem is they are not necessarily my temperament. One with her temperament would love that structure. So if I have a boxwood mom with a boxwood child, that would absolutely work. They'd love it. Yeah, my mom is so organized and scheduled, and because if I have a task, mom does it 3 weeks beforehand with me, and it's all in place. If I have a palm tree mom, on the morning of my task, after I've asked 100 times, she just quickly puts something together and sends it to school. Then I'm pulling my hair out. So we do get the different types, and that's the thing. I love it. I think it's fantastic. Hetty, Brits, and Anniki, I think the things that they did with this is just so brilliant. And what they've done is they took many other profiling systems and put it together, and that's how they got this 3-dimensional thing. And I've done thousands, as you've said, with corporates, with parents, with couples, with children, teenagers. And it never fails me, and it never ceases to amaze me. Really, it does. My kids have kids coming over to visit them, and I watch them. And it's just instinctive for me to see how they react. And the first thing I would see is, okay, that is that girl's personality, or her temperament is this, and so on. And then I'd understand how to handle her better in my classes as well. But can I just say, I have a lot of empathy for parents, because as a teacher with full classes in front of me, you really struggle when you have a lesson of 40 minutes to get everything done, check everybody's homework, teach the lesson of the day, make sure they all know what they are doing, to keep their temperament in mind.
Yeah.
Really, it's much easier for a parent at home to know and understand my child and guide them, because now they come back from school, they're very upset. The teacher was rude today, she didn't even pay attention to me, because some love that personal attention. But they don't understand when it's a class of 35, some teachers have classes of 40, that it's very difficult then for a teacher to really think of your temperament at that moment in time, and so on. So as a parent, if I have the knowledge, I can say, look, I can see that you feel that your teacher didn't give enough attention to you today, but let me sit with you and let's talk about this, and that's the other thing that I would really, as a teacher, ask parents, please don't phone the school every time your child is upset. Karen, above everything else, emotional intelligence is really, really very important. And emotional intelligence, I must teach my children. And if I don't have it, I can't teach them that. So how do I know if I have it? An emotional intelligent parent will be the one that, if my child comes home from school and is upset about something that a teacher did, they don't phone the school and demand to see the headmaster and fire the teacher. They will sit with the child and say, look, it's the first time this has happened. Maybe the teacher just had a bad day. Yes. Do they have a new baby at home? Maybe they didn't sleep. Does it make it right? No, it doesn't. But do I help you to understand why these things happen? Absolutely. And then it's much easier for my child to go through life, because every little thing a teacher does will not upset them, because they will be able to think for themselves, critically evaluate what is happening here. Is the teacher really angry at me? Is what happened my fault? And then this is the other thing. So we have the temperaments of children. It's never their fault. And if we have a parent who's the same way, we have a big problem, because some parents don't see their children's mistakes and they don't want to know about it, because they feel it's a reflection on them. It's their own mistake. So because you and I know that many parents live through their children, unfortunately. What they didn't achieve, their kids must achieve. What they felt they didn't succeed in, their kids must succeed in. So if my child feels that they didn't do well, then I feel like a disappointment as a parent, but I don't realize it's that. So I go to school and I make this big hoo-ha about the parent, this teacher is not good enough. But meantime, it might just be that your little angel that is sitting in his room doing homework or her work is not concentrating on the papers in front of them, but they have another thing going on the side, or playing on the phone underneath the work, or doodling on the page. You and I know the reality, because I've had 3 boys. I have 3 boys. I know how it works. So yes, so temperament, you are right, plays a big role.
Yeah, and I want to say something with regards to the teaching, is that so many times, I laugh when I say this, but so many times mom will sit in front of me and I would have done an assessment, and then they'll say, and everyone says this, but last year we didn't have any issue with this teacher, and now it's the second week and I've been phoned 3 times. And then I know it's because I've seen the child's temperament, and then it's just that temperaments change. So it's not something that happened, it's just a different way of, and the poor, the palm children. I'm a palm tree. I've given Brenda many grey hairs. I'm better over the years.
You are much better, much better.
But that teachers that are so structured, they are, that just doesn't help. It's chaos for both of them, So that's why it's so important to understand this, because then the way you look, I see this as respect. Because I always tell people that, if I understand Brenda's temperament, I understand Brenda totally. So if she does something or says something, I will not immediately, like you say, jump on my high horse, because I know where it's coming from. And that for me is teaching our children respect.
Yes. And can I just say, it's also important that teachers should understand temperaments,
Yeah.
because I should also understand that something might happen which is not in the child's normal
Yes.
temperament. Why is this going on? Something is happening here, and I should treat him differently. And you know what, especially for the parents out there, uh, punishing kids for things that they do wrong deliberately. You can't also punish them the same way, because it's not going to have the same impact. You know, I have to understand my child's temperament to understand what punishments is going to work,
Yes.
because you know the one is going to love it when you send him to his room, it's going
True.
to be like the best thing ever, and the other one is going to hate isolation. You have to understand which is the one who wants to be isolated, which is the one who doesn't, which is the one when you say stand for 15 minutes on one leg is going to love it, and which is the one who's going to drop down when you say it. So if I understand their temperament as a teacher and a parent, it also helps me with all the other aspects of parenting, how to punish them, how to know when they are manipulating me. Now, this is the really
Yes.
cool thing, is manipulation, and that's something that we will talk about in a different session. But manipulation with each of these temperaments is different. It's there. And I've learned, I would tell mine, you know what, you are manipulating me now
Yeah.
by doing this and this and this. And I can't allow it, you know, but we don't see the manipulation. And Karen, you know what, parents also manipulate their children. That's just
Yeah.
the other part, you
That's
know.
true.
If you really love me, you do this, or if you want this ice cream, you'll do this. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. So there are many things that we do that we don't understand why it doesn't work, but there's a reason why it doesn't work. And
Yeah.
yes, so if I understand the kids, it makes my life easier. And as a teacher and a parent.
Mm.
Mm.
And I mean, covering, like I said now, so if I understand my child and we have got a task to do, I know how to teach them. Actually, we talk about executive functioning skills where I need
Yes,
to teach my child, if there's a task, what are the different steps that needs to be taken. So
absolutely.
so for instance, I mean, a certain temperament will be taught in a different way.
Yes,
So a palm tree will be different than a rose bush. So it's so
yes,
important. That's what I want to stress. It gives you so much power, in a sense of, you are going to get a positive feedback with us, because
yes.
it's just smooth sailing, you know. And I
Yes.
wanted to say to you, this is what I see. And sometimes we just appointed a new facilitator here at BioLink. And over the years, I mean, how many years have we've been living this? Someone will come into the door, or I will do a feedback with a mom, and just the way they come into the door, take their handbag, put it down, I know
Yes,
exactly how I should
yes,
speak to those people. So when I do a feedback, it's always different, because I look at the mom or the dad's temperament. Some of them want detail. Some of them are like, just whatever. I don't want to hear the detail.
just give
And
me the
this
broad
is so
spectrum.
it's so
Mm.
powerful if you've got this. And I mean, it's the same in your household. It's just, and it becomes like a language, if I can say that, if you
Yes,
understand this.
yes, it does. And it gives you grace for people,
Yes.
because then you know, oh, okay, this one is not always doing this on purpose. It's part of who they are, but I need, now this is the other thing. Do I just leave it? No, you can't. You know, that part that I said that we look at of the 6 aspects, the red flag one, we can't just leave it. So when you talked about the task just now, for example, I have to teach my child who doesn't like sitting down, doing his work. I have
Yes.
to guide them and give them the tools and the skills that will work for them to make it easier for them to get the task done on time.
Exactly.
I have to also understand that I have 2 children or 3 children or maybe 4 or 5 that are very different from each other. And it drives me nuts, because all I want to do is everybody around the table now, take out your homework and let's do it. And it doesn't work that way. The one needs to eat, watch a bit of telly, maybe
Yeah.
have just a little bit of me time.
Unwinding.
Uh, exactly. And the other one wants to play outside and kick a ball. It's been busy the whole day, but it's still busy. It's like an energized bunny, those ads. And another one wants to immediately stop. They hardly want to eat because they're so stressed out about getting it, getting it done. And the other one tells me when they will do it. I
Yeah.
will do it when I'm ready. And it's really challenging because they're so different. And you will very easily, as a parent, end up in a screaming match. And I remember that from when I haven't done these profiles yet, and I didn't understand it. And my two oldest children were younger. How many times I would just go in a rage of shouting and screaming because I couldn't get the reaction I wanted. And I still didn't get the reaction I wanted, and I couldn't understand it. Or I got a reaction of fear. I could see the fear on their faces, and I'd feel so bad about why was I now so angry that they look so scared of me? And now I understand it, because I understand my own temperament and why I did it. Because in my rosebush temperament, being aggressive is manipulation, to shout and use your strength and your voice. And as a drama teacher, obviously I have a voice. So I have the acting skills. So I can really scare them if I want to. But is that really what you want? As a parent, no, absolutely not. And at that stage, I didn't know it. And I love it. I had a couple the other night, and it's so fantastic when I speak to parents and I say, okay, so let's talk about your children. What's their temperament like? And they've got a little rose bush, and one of the parents are a rose bush, and they have these screaming matches, and the parent can't understand. They never win. And I'm like, but you won't. You will only win when you do this and this and this. And that's fantastic, because I know it, because I made the mistakes and I've learned from it. But I really don't hit myself about all the mistakes I've made.
No,
I said sorry though. I did go and apologize. I went and I said to my oldest son, I'm so sorry. I made so many mistakes with you. I feel so bad about it. And typically his temperament, he said, oh, did you? I didn't notice. And I said, no, you're lying. I know you're just being nice, but no. So yes, Corin, it is what you say. It's a fantastic way of growth and of understanding, and making every practical day easier for yourself. Will I get it right immediately? Absolutely not.
Practice.
We know it takes years. You will do the same thing over and learn that lesson over. Only maybe after number 5, you will remember, okay, yes, I must remember this is what it's about. But I mean, if you are prepared to walk the road, if you are prepared to do it, I have people who come back yearly and say, listen, we know we did our profiles. We want to redo them again and have a chat session with you just to make sure we're still okay, just to make sure we've grown. We look at their previous profiles and we say, has their growth taken place, and so on. So, and that is the thing, as long as we are prepared to understand our kids, how they work, why we struggle with homework, why some don't like school, Corin.
Yeah.
They really don't like school. It's a hassle. I think some parents out there really feel in the morning, please, morning mustn't come, because that whole drama about taking this kid to school every day, and it's every day a drama, just gets to me. And I think that is really tiresome. You have those who love school and who can't wait for you to leave. Please don't kiss me, don't carry my suitcase. You could drop me on the corner if you want to, and I'll just go on my own. But then we have the opposite, and it's emotionally really draining to have an emotional child. Oh yes, and on that point, can I just say, emotional boys that are very emotional are normally very difficult for a father to understand. Fathers, I find, really struggle to understand why my son is so emotional, why he cries so much, why he gets upset about things. And he's just like, man doesn't cry, he must be a man. And it's not that at all. So that really, and it helps them to become a strong man if you understand it, and you utilize your knowledge about their temperament, and then teach them and give them skills when they are emotional of how I deal with this. So that's really...
And I think this is it also, again, I come back to respect, because we live in an age where I sometimes look at the young people where they have no respect, it seems, for older people. So if this is something, that's why I believe a whole family should do this, is that you teach your child why. I mean, I had to do it with my 2 sons, because I had Leon, that's got 8 full-blown ADHD, and Henry, that's an Asperger. Leon had to understand Henry. So it teaches the children to also understand and comprehend. And this is where you as a parent needs this knowledge, so that you can facilitate and guide this part of the emotional intelligence that you spoke about. Because you are forming them into grown-ups that's going to have respect and
Yes.
understanding and empathy for other people. I mean, it's so
Yes.
powerful.
And the thing with respect today is that I feel I think our biggest problem today is we number one, we have instant gratification.
Yes.
You know, you put a card in a machine, money comes out, you go through the drive-through, the food gets delivered into your car, you phone whatever delivery service, they deliver it home. So instant gratification is the one part of the problem. And then that thing about where I teach my child it's their right, you know, it's your right to do whatever you feel like, because that's the way we do it today. In that process, we lose a lot of respect. And I see that, unfortunately, a lot in education today. I sit with a class full of kids in front of me, and I can immediately see who's taught respect at home and who's not taught respect at all. And that really is sad for me, because that's not
It's
the
not their
way
fault.
it's the way they were taught. It's the way they are told, they are set. And I think social media, as fantastic as it can be, there's a lot of things that go out there, you know, it's your right, you must demand this and that, and they lose their respect in the process. And to be grateful, Karen, something as easy as that. Are your kids still grateful in the house? You know, I'm very strict when I do sessions with people. I say, you know, I don't care what you do, but your son or daughter is going to be somebody's wife or husband one day, and they have to go and work for a boss one day, and have colleagues that they have to connect with, and have friends they have to connect with. Now, if you teach them that, you know, it's my way or the highway, and I must get it because that's the way it is, then they're not going to be very happy, because people won't like them. It's you know, and that's going to be the problem in the end, is you're going to not understand why I have these people who think I'm arrogant or who don't like me. And I can see, you can, as a teacher, you see the difference. You know, I'm the drama teacher as well at the school, and I do the culture. So I, when we do plays or music festivals or whatever, and I work with these boys, because I'm at a boys' school. So when I work with them, you know, there are these kids that you instantly love, because you can see they've been taught respect. They always ask you, okay? They carry your stuff for you, you know, and they'll care about you really. And you can see it comes from home. You know, they've been taught at home. And then you have these other arrogant ones where you ask nicely and you are polite and you say, look, I'm not going to fight with you. Where's your work? And they, you know, and then you think, oh, this is sad, because I know this comes from home. It's and parents must really understand that it is not the school's job to teach kids those things. That is parenting. It's a big difference between what you are learned and taught at school and what parents should teach you. And unfortunately, I think, Karen, parents are tired, they are exhausted, they are overwhelmed by the world and what's happening. So they really actually don't have the energy to worry about that stuff. So they just hope that if they send their kids to school, many parents think that that's where they will be taught their manners. But basic manners start at home, you know, basic saying thank you and so on from a small age. And how do I deal, Karen, with the temperament of a child who refuses?
Yeah.
You say, let's go and have a bath. And he says, no, I don't want a bath. What do you do? Do you know what to do? And that's why temperaments are so important, because if you understand the temperament, you will absolutely understand why they say no, and you can guide them the right way, you know, and those little things that you teach them at home will then eventually go through to school.
Yeah. And that's why I want to really, there's two things I want to say. Number one is that we are going to do, and I'm excited, we are going to do a full webinar in about a month's time. Everyone that's following us, don't worry, we'll put it on our Facebook page. It will go out in email, so we'll remind you. So Brenda is going to dig a little bit deeper into this and help you even more. But something else that you can really look for is to do a session like this. And I know you can go, I think, Brenda, you can go to the website and you can go do that profile on your own. But you know what? I can tell from own experience, it's one thing. And I mean, a lot of times we do questionnaires and stuff on the internet, and I can download the paper and get the results. But it's not the same to sit down and talk to someone and say, but okay, but this is what I'm struggling with at my house. And then that's where you come in. So I want to really urge everyone, this is really something that can change your whole household's life, your child's life, your life. So Brenda, tell us a little bit how they can contact you. We'll put everything on the page as well. But I mean, I want to urge people to contact you and book a personal session with you to get answers, the answers that they are looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is, as you said, you can go and do their profiles online and you will get a result, but you won't necessarily be able to put it in perspective of your family or yourself and your child. So that you will find very difficult. Yes. So there are many facilitators in your area. So if you are someone who would like to sit down with somebody specifically, and you are not in my area, I'm in Bloemfontein, then you can go and look for a facilitator in your area to help you. But if you prefer, and especially today, to do it online, do a Zoom session, chat session, or whatever, you're more than welcome to contact me as well. I'd love to work with you. I work with people all the time, and I know that Corinne is not just saying this because I know she knows that there is a difference between you working with somebody directly who knows and understands the whole picture already. So yes, we have to do the Tall Trees profile because we have to see what's happening and going on. So that's the first step. So when you contact me or somebody else, they will guide you through it. So Corinne, you can just get my email address, would be maybe the best thing. It's brenda.myburgh, MYBURGH @gmail.com. And you can send me a mail and I will send you information, because now also remember, there are many different profiles. So you have an adult one, you have a teenager one, you have one for kids from 3 to 11, you have the unnatural mom one and the parenting one. So it depends. And then they also have session bookings that you can do online with somebody specific if you want to. So I would rather suggest that you mail me, for example, and you say, this is my situation. I have a 14-year-old and a 4-year-old, and it's really a struggle. And I'm a lone parent on my own, or I have a husband who doesn't agree with me about anything. Oh, and please, can I just say this, Corinne? I've heard it all. There is absolutely nothing that people can say that will shock or surprise me. Nothing. So I bet you do need the background to make your choice. And then I'll make a recommendation. So I will say, I think we need to do these profiles online, the Tall Trees ones, these ones, and then we're going to go and forward and do a session or whatever, and we'll book it from there. So yeah, that is the way to do, is if you want to understand yourself. I do know many people might have bought Hetty's book in the past, her books that she wrote. She's got fantastic books, and I have many parents who say, I've got Hetty's book, but you know, I read it years ago and I never read it again. And it's a very thick book, so I started and I did the questionnaires in the front, and that's where I stopped, and I just went through certain pages. So this is just another way for you to also, if you have always been interested in her stuff, because that's how I started. You know, I was a motivational speaker on stage when I promoted her books, and I've never met her, and I never ever did a course with her or anything. So that I actually did meet her, I said, you do know that, you know, I've been promoting you even from, I came back from London all those years ago, and that's how I actually got into doing the facilitation. So yes, contact me on mail, and then I'm really looking forward to having our webinar.
Yeah, so that's going to be in a month's time. So we're gonna. I know you have to start school, so we're giving Brenda some grace to just sort out everything that's happening with school and everything they're facing. But we're going to go deeper into this, so don't worry. We will let you know about the dates and the times and all of that. Brenda, thank you so much. It was a lovely chat, like always.
Yes.
And I mean, we can chat about this because we can speak this language. So it's so awesome because you understand and you can really help people. If you do,
yes, and so do you. So that's great. That by link attention also that you take hands with Tall Trees, and that you know that you work with us on this. So it's great because parents get a holistic, a whole perspective, which is fantastic. So thank you for inviting me, like always.
No, thank
it's
you
been
so
a great,
much.
Fun session.
Okay, guys. So I'm going to put Brenda's information in the caption, so you are more than welcome to reach out to her. And I really want to urge you to reach out to her. It's so great as a mom to speak to someone that do understand. And I think that's what we as moms really need these days, is someone that you can talk to that doesn't only have, and I say this very respectfully, but someone that doesn't only have book kennis, but experience, so book knowledge, sorry, but that experience and really going through everything, because that's what we need, you need that ear that do know and hear what you are saying. So thank you so much, Brenda.
Thanks,
And
Karen.
we are looking forward to our next chat. Okay.
I can't wait.
Okay,
Have a
guys.
wonderful day. Thanks,
Have
guys.
a nice day, guys. Bye.
Bye.